KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV, MTK Global. This is by pure chance.
No, it's not. It's not by pure chance.
Right.
You said, where are you today? I said, I'm in the West End. You found out where I was, and you called me from outside and said, come and do 5 minutes, please. So
I'm on the hustle.
You are on the hustle.
You've got to appreciate the hustle.
Tracked me down, and it's only 1:10. So what I'm about to tell you is you're going to have to go out later anyway. Well done, well done. I was eating my bread and butter and actually having lunch.
Oh, was you actually?
Yes, I was.
Oh, this is man of the people.
Yeah. Well, I'm a people's promoter.
Obviously,
you know,
yes.
Yeah.
Right, announce it for me.
Yeah, official. AJ making his American debut at the Mecca, Madison Square Gardens, June the 1st. Defence of his WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO, World Heavyweight titles against Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Live on Sky Sports, box office live on DAZN. We are taking the Lions Den to New York, and we are going to create a card, all British and Irish. Really? Against the US and the world. It's going to be absolutely mega. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited. I mean, look, there's been loads of ups and downs, and the talking points have been unbelievable, but I'm just pleased that everything's solid. I think this is, you know, not what we were expecting to do, and not, to be honest, not what we were planning to do, but I'm excited for this phase of his career, and I'm excited to be involved in an event at Madison Square Garden, which is, you know, as a fight fan and going there for Canelo, Rocky, and going there as a kid, a dream come true to be promoting a world heavyweight unification or unified championship fight there. So it's going to be fun. Press conference will be next week. Big Baby Miller's going to be giving it the big one, and it's good. I'm really excited.
I'm assuming you're doing 2 press conferences?
Yeah, it will be I think Tuesday next week in New York, and then the following Monday in the UK.
Following Monday?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of media out in the US. This is, you know, like I said, he's built something phenomenal in the UK, and we couldn't quite bring the fight that we wanted to the UK. So this opportunity arose. I want to thank Sky Sports, of course, for backing this global expansion, and want to thank DAZN for making it possible, and Madison Square Garden for making it possible, because without those 3 people, this wouldn't be possible. And he's going to completely take over the US. They're going to absolutely love him. They're going to see the best heavyweight in the world, the most exciting heavyweight in the world, and they're going to see a great fight, because Big Baby Miller, all 24 stone of him, is going to come to try and win this world championship in his backyard.
Has the negotiations with Baby Miller been made more difficult because of the White situation? And
probably. I mean, I've seen stuff. Oh, he was always fighting. He was never fighting Big Baby Miller. He was always, you know, down the list in terms of what we wanted to do. But he was more realistic. And listen, that may be because he's not sitting at number 1 and he's number 4 or 5, and maybe he doesn't have the profile. He doesn't have the profile of Fury or Wilder. So maybe it was easier to do a deal with him in that respect. But one thing I got from Miller was, and I've had this, to be fair, for him for 2 years, I can beat AJ. And when the opportunity came for him to do it in his backyard, a kid from Brooklyn fighting for 4 world heavyweight championship belts in New York, of course he was always going to get the best deal, but it was about that opportunity. And AJ's got to be on his game. You know, there's a lot of new experiences coming, new time zones, new arena, new ring, new commission, new hand-wrap rule, everything. You know, he's gone from his comforts of 70, 80,000 Brits. Yo, AJ, you're the man too. Don't get me wrong, we're going to take thousands and thousands of Brits, but he's still going to Miller's backyard. And I'm excited. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for this new chapter, I guess, in his career.
Have you had to overpay Miller for this fight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I mean, we're just living in a crazy market. That's all. Like, a year ago, he might have got half what he's getting. But he deserves it. He's the guy. You know, if we're breaking through into the US market, which this fight is going to do for Joshua, he is that guy. You know, he's top 5 in the world. He's a dangerous heavyweight. He's a big personality. He's from New York. He's a great talker. He can fight. I mean, he's the guy to completely go in and turn this US market on its head in terms of heavyweight boxing.
Sources on the internet, we love this one. Figures being thrown about for this. Joshua's earning a reported $32 million.
I'm not going to go into that, but obviously, you know, he's in a good position financially. He's the biggest star in world boxing, him and Canelo, and they're both on DAZN. So, you know, when you start looking at the, you know, obviously we got our 2 hats. We got Sky Sports, we got DAZN, and Sky Sports in the UK. That's where our heart and soul is. For a DAZN's perspective to get this fight as well, you got to look at what they're doing at the moment in the marketplace. They've been there, what, 4 months, Canelo, Anthony Joshua, Usyk, Rungvisai, Danny Jacobs, maybe even Gennady Golovkin, Maurice Hooker, Bivol, Farmer, Katie Taylor. I mean, the list is incredible, and they're so early in. But you know, you've got that period coming up where you've got end of April, you're going to get Rungvisai Strada, you're going to get Roman Dehenny, then you're going to get Canelo against Jacobs, then you're going to get Usyk in May. You might even get Callum Smith on that card as well. Who knows if Golovkin will be part of May as well. On June the 1st, you've got Joshua against Miller. I mean, this is an incredible schedule coming up. So it's a massive moment for them to get, arguably it's a toss-up between the two biggest stars in world boxing, and they both fight on DAZN and they're both on Sky Sports. So it's, I'm excited, you know, I'm excited to go there with a massive event, and I'm excited to create a weekend for British fight fans that's going to be double horny.
So far, in your head, who's penciled in for the undercard?
Loads of potential fights. I mean, you know, we got, I shouldn't tell you, but I'll tell you anyway. I mean, I'm looking for a major fight for Buatsi there, if he can come through Conroy. I'd like to take Josh Kelly there. I'd like to do Tommy Coyle against Chris Algieri. I'd like to do Ricky Burns against Ray Beltran. I'd like to do Yafai against Nietes in a unification fight. There's some other World Championship fights I'm looking at as well. But literally, I want 10 Brits down one side of the card, and Irish, because I'm hoping as well that if Katie Taylor can get through Volante, maybe we can do the undisputed fight with Pearson for all the belts on that card as well, and just create a monster party. June the 1st. Arrive on a Thursday night or Friday morning, get there for the weigh-in. We're going to have an unbelievable weekend.
When do tickets go on sale?
There'll be an announcement coming shortly. It'll be next week.
Are you going to do any kind of package going from the UK?
Yeah, there's official partners that are going to be doing. Flights are reasonable, hotels are reasonable. It's going to be a trip of a lifetime.
What's the situation with Gennady Golovkin at the moment?
Ongoing. He's talking to everybody. We're in it, and we hope, Matchroom, DAZN, hope that he joins what I see now as, you know, say the biggest platform, but the biggest stable of fighters. And it, you know, we're creeping up on everybody, but just write it down, look at the names. This is a formidable thing that's happening, and obviously to bring Joshua, Madison Square Garden, to DAZN as well is major for them.
Usyk, who could he be potentially fighting on May 18th?
We've got a few people that we're looking at the moment. Obviously, White against Brazil was ordered yesterday, so that takes Povetkin out of the mix. Does he slot into the Usyk fight? There's loads and loads happening.
But Callum Smith, you're looking to put on that card?
Possibly, yeah. I'm supposed to be meeting Joe Gallagher tomorrow to talk about, but he may box on that card or in Liverpool in May.
Yes, the WBC ordered that fight yesterday.
Yeah.
Is the split 50-50?
At the moment it is. I mean, we can both make a case. I mean, it's strange, you know, Brazil for some reason is mandatory, but Dillian is number one. So I'm going to be writing to the WBC to say I think he should get a bigger split. He's been number one for 2 years. It's great that they've made that move. I don't think Brazil will be very happy because I think he wanted to sit tight. And, you know, Dillian's in a good position. It will probably go to purse bids. You know, I will try and get Brazil over here.
Are you happy to let it go to purse bids?
Well, I'd rather make a deal, but I just think when you look at it logically, you know, we're going to try and get Brazil here. If not, we'll do it in America. Heyman might not want to let Brazil go on DAZN. I don't think they'll be able to come up with enough money for Dillian to actually accept a deal without going to purse bids. So it may go to purse bids, and if it does, it doesn't really matter because the aim of the fight is the same. He's got to win that fight, and then he's in a great position. So, you know, I'm hoping that we can get that fight, he can win that fight, and then we've got everybody cornered one way to get hold of that WBC strap.
Have PBC made an offer to Dillian Whyte?
I don't know. I mean, not to my knowledge. I know he had some chats with them and Showtime and stuff like that. He's made it clear to me where he wants to be. We'll be backing him 100% for that fight and onwards. He's in a good spot. You know, he knows that Sky are going to be bidding hard for that fight. PBC will probably be bidding for that fight. ITV might, you know, same thing, and BT, I don't know. So it's interesting.
So your April the 20th date, is there a question mark over it?
No, the show's definitely happening, but I doubt it will be Dillian Whyte on that card now.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk to Mr. Sowland in a minute. I've got a few funky ideas. So.
But will it still be a pay-per-view show?
Not necessarily.
But it will definitely be at the O2?
Yes, April 20. So.
Ooh, curveball here with this.
Not really. I mean, that was always, you know, obviously you got the Calm fight as well. Do we marry up the two and do, you know, a big show through the night? There's lots in play. It doesn't have to be pay-per-view. I'm not hell-bent on doing a pay-per-view card. I know you might think otherwise, but...
Parker Chisora,
yeah, that's in play. Very much in play.
So could that headline the O2?
It could headline the O2. It's not big enough. I mean, it'd still be a monster card, but it's not big enough as its own event to be a pay-per-view. So do you add Khan onto that? Do you add a bigger fight on the card? There's a lot of things that are in conversation.
So the chances of Dillian Whyte fighting on the 20th?
Very slim.
Very slim.
Very, very slim. I think he's going to be more like July, because I think the purse bids are going to be April, and then, you know, from there it'll be 90 days.
Okay, what's the situation regarding...
I've really got to go to lunch.
Lomachenko
in negotiations. Purse bid's been delayed 7 days. It's next Wednesday, and we'll see if we can reach a deal. I think we'll reach a deal, personally. But
situation regarding Saunders and Andrade.
In negotiations, waiting for the WBO to pull a purse bid. Can't wait for that fight. That's the fight that everybody wants. That's the fight that Andrade wants. You know, he gets criticised that he isn't the real champion because Billy Joe failed a drugs test and he couldn't fight him. But he wants that fight, and I think it's a great fight for the division and the fans. And
final one, Fury Wilder, they've extended.
Yeah, I think they'll make it. I mean, I don't know. I think just the dynamics with that is they've ordered it as 60-40. So Fury, you know, Fury doesn't have to give him a rematch clause. Fury doesn't have to take a deal. Fury should get 60-40 in that fight. But will he accept 50-50? I mean, if he wants 50-50 with AJ, I think he's really got to be asking for 60-40 or 70-30.
One last thing. So, Dillian Whyte fights Brazil, beats Brazil in hindsight, becomes mandatory for Fury Wilder. That fight takes place in May. When do you think they would call that mandatory to
Well, I think they would allow the undisputed fight, and they may allow the trilogy. So I was talking to Dillian about last night.
So he might be waiting a long time.
He might be, but at least he's in the position. Do you know what I mean? And then you can push it from there. So they'd definitely allow the undisputed fight. Would they allow a third fight? Maybe not. So maybe the only fight they'd allow is the undisputed fight. And listen, maybe that won't even happen. You know, I can't tell you enough how hard we've tried. Like, when I say, oh, they didn't really want the fight, they had this all planned from the start. Not being funny, but I ain't really got time to just make dozens and dozens of offers and phone people and email, like just to try and look good and cover my tracks. Do you know what I mean? It's like with the Shelley Finkel stuff. Do you really think I would chase that geezer if I didn't want the fight? Or what I'm going to do today, I'm going to call him another couple of times. I'm going to send him a few emails just to make it look like we wanted the fight. Fucking hell, mate. I mean, okay, if you really thought I'd do that once or twice, not for 6 months or even a year. So, as I said, Wilder thought he was getting the easy touch against Fury. And he fucked up. And Fury's come out smelling the roses. And he deserves it. But let's see what he does in a rematch. And we want the winner. Of course we do. Can I go and eat now?
I'm going to let you get back to your lunch. Cheers. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we'll catch up with you soon.
See you in June. MSG, baby.